Okay, since most students are pretty excited about the opportunity to make some career decisions, I think you're going to find this particular study to be quite valuable to you. Not only does it talk about career decision making, but it also focuses on service learning, which is a very active, engaging way to address several of your different learning goals of your courses. So let's go ahead and take a peek. Again, as always, we'll start off with the research prediction, and you'll see Coulter, Kern, and colleagues basically wanted to know whether participating in a service learning project on careers would be beneficial to students, and if so, how would that be beneficial to them? So you're going to read for key points, and you're going to look for the answers to these questions. You know, what question did they seek an answer to, who participated, what did they have to do, and what was the answer to their research question. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the study itself. Just recall the importance of the abstract is right here. You want to make sure you read this a few times before you advance onto the actual article itself, so you have a good background knowledge and a good sense of what's coming. It's kind of like watching a preview to a movie before you go to the movies. You have at least a sense of what the storyline might be. Let's take a peek now at the introduction, and it starts off here, and it talks a little bit about, again, the issue of deciding on a career, how much of a daunting task this can be. It can be quite overwhelming to students, and what we'll see here is that the authors are looking for ways to kind of help students with this career exploration process and with the career decision making that they need to engage in as a college student. So they're focusing on Holland Theory, which you're going to learn about in this chapter. Holland is a career theorist who talks about person-environment fit, and it's about a match between you and your interests and the interest of an interest and task of a job itself. So you're going to see that these letters here stand for different themes: realistic, investigative, artistic, social enterprising, and conventional. And that there's an inventory called the SDS, or the self-directed search, which has been helpful to a lot of students as they engage in the career exploration process. So basically they talk about the value of this, and then they also go on to speak about how important experiential learning is. And they talk about a variety of ways you can engage in experiential learning, but then they're going to zoom in on service learning, which service learning is basically it's really an avenue for you to explore and accomplish career goals while also benefiting the community. So it's both the personal benefit in terms of the academic work that you're doing, but also the external reward for the service to the community that you're providing that service to. So it's going to talk about the benefits of service learning and why it's so valuable. And then if we scroll down, we're going to see about, oops, a little too far. In the current study, what's happening here is that they want to try to combine the service learning with the career decision making to see if that could be helpful in a practical setting such as a university setting. So again, they'll provide you with their research prediction or hypothesis, and they think that students who are receiving instruction in career decision making and participate in this service learning project are going to have increased knowledge about careers and decision making in general, and in particular about the self-directed search and Holland's theory. So let's go ahead and take a look at the method. Here, what they're basically saying is they had 2 upper-level division psychology classes participate, and students in both of the classes got information on career advising. So basically what's happening here is that all of the students who participated were getting exposed to good career exploration information. However, only one of those 2 classes also engaged in the service learning project. So it was a little bit of a small sample. There were only 14 college students in the 2 classes. And here are the materials where they focused on the self-directed search. They also had a values inventory. So basically they were completing some career assessments. And then at the end they had to do a post-test, which was basically measuring their career knowledge and also their confidence level in being able to make a good career decision. So it reviews the procedure with you here, and you can see that there was a significant amount of time that was really devoted to career decision making, and that was in both of the classes. So 2 90-minute classes. So we're talking about 3 hours of instruction on the career exploration process and Holland Theory in specific. And both of those classes were able to receive that. Then the service learning group, a week later, engaged in the service learning project. And basically what they did was they had some high school students who were already visiting the college, and as part of that visit, they had them complete the inventory, and then the college students who just learned about the inventory had to help interpret their scores, obviously with the support of a psychology faculty member, and meet with them to discuss career issues. So that was the nature of the service project, was really to meet with high school students who, and help them start to explore career decision making. The post-test was given 2 weeks after the visit, and you can see that the kinds of tests that were there was the career knowledge questionnaire, and this was basically just assessing their general knowledge on career decision making. And then there was another post-test that was more specific to the self-directed search and Holland's theory. So let's take a peek at the results. Alrighty, so we go down to the results section here, and we're going to see whether or not there was a difference. So you can see this t-test is another type of test that you can use to statistically look at the differences between groups, and they wanted to see were there any differences in the career knowledge questionnaire between those who participated in the service learning and those who did not. And what they found was that the students who participated in service learning did score higher than those who did not participate in the service learning project. Again, we have the averages or means listed here. So we have about 44, almost 45 up here, and we have a 39 on the test right here. Now it says see Table 1. We just kind of skipped over that a minute, so let's go back and take a peek at Table 1, because what you can see is here now you're having all the different statements, and you can see the average response of the treatment group, which is really the group who participated in the service learning, and you can compare them to the control group, which are the students who did not. And if you scroll down, all of these numbers are higher than these numbers. So there certainly was a higher level of knowledge. Okay, now when we take a look at what about Holland Theory? Well, they found that students who participated in service learning did have more knowledge, again, compared to those who didn't participate. And this was a pretty significant change here. If you look at this, it was a 5.5 versus a 0.14 only for those who didn't. So by really working with the high school students, they not only helped the high school students, but they also really increased their own knowledge, which was going to help them in their own career decision-making process. So now we're at the discussion, and what we're going to do here is we're going to see that both of their hypotheses were supported, so their research predictions were accurate and on target. And what this basically tells you is that service learning is a great way for students to be engaged in the career decision-making process. So as I just said, not only was it helping the high school students, which they didn't really provide us with data on, but I'm going to make a kind of leap of faith there that it did also provide them with some helpful information, but it also helps the students in the class really be able to better understand the career theory. So, of course, there are some, important ways to kind of tuck this into other studies and to acknowledge the limitations of the study, but they also want to focus on the values. So yes, it was a small study, so we don't know that we would get the same results if there were several hundred students in this study, but at the same time, this is not a unique finding that service learning is a pretty powerful way to learn. So you can see here they're tucking that into the prior findings. So if this was the only study out there that spoke to the value of service learning, we might be like, 14 students, probably not that meaningful. But because it's now becoming a part of the larger literature, that's where the value really comes into play. And then, of course, they're going to give you some ideas about what we might want to look at in the future. And you can have some of your own ideas. If you were designing a study, how might you design it and improve upon our knowledge base in this area? After the references, you'll always, of course, have your last two sections of, or steps, I should say, really, in the process, which is to critically think about the research. And do you think it would be the same if they had to do an independent project on career? So maybe it's the amount of time they spent on career issues versus the actual activity. So this kind of gets you thinking about it. Would that be different or would it not be? What's different about independent work versus a service learning project? And how could one be more beneficial than another or not? Then, of course, we can explore what additional evidence exists. We can look out library databases or websites and try to determine what extra information could we take in and tuck into this particular study to really start to get a good handle on how service learning and career decision making may work well together, hand in hand, if we put them together into the same type of activity. So I hope you are finding these articles to be really, a great way to dive into the specifics and also for you to challenge yourself to critically think and build your information literacy skills.